In the past 4 years, ever since I graduated high school, I spent pretty much all of my time traveling the world, visiting countries like Japan, Indonesia, Switzerland, New Zealand, and many others.
So good!
Throughout that time, I received literally thousands of messages from people all around the world asking me how I was able to afford long-term travel without having to take long breaks from traveling and work odd jobs in countries like Australia.
Yeah!
And the answer to that question is very simple. I'm the so-called digital nomad, which basically means I can work from absolutely anywhere as long as I have my computer and a Wi-Fi connection. As time went by, I kept receiving more and more of these messages, and at some point it simply wasn't possible to reply to them anymore.
This is the craziest bike ride of my entire life. I gotta feel anything we need to stop every 1 second to say it, man.
So I decided to create this video where I'll talk about how I became a digital nomad myself, explain how anyone else can have the same lifestyle, and also provide you with some really useful resources to help you get started. Now that being said, let's get going. Part 1. My story. When I was a little kid, I absolutely hated the fact that I wasn't able to fully control my own life. Now don't get me wrong, my parents were awesome, but every time I wanted to do anything, I had to get their permission. In a lot of those cases, it all came down to the fact that I didn't have my own money. And when I realized that, I started searching for ways to make my own money and become financially independent. So from a very young age, I would come up with many different business ideas like selling postcards in the local market or offering my cleaning services to my extended family and my neighbors and people around the block. But long story short, I was able to establish my very first official company at the age of 15 with a business partner who was 38 years old at that time. Either way, in those days we were running 2 different companies. The first one was a small book publishing house and the other one was an online shop that sold physical books. At first everything was going great, but after about 10 months of working together we had so many disagreements about the future of our business that I decided to sell my shares in the company to my partner for over 7,000 euros, I think.
Summertime and the living is easy.
And eventually I came to the conclusion that the only real opportunity for me was to work on online businesses because I came from a super tiny country.
Such a nice place, such nice nature, everything's perfect.
And obviously there weren't that many things I could do in the local market. So from then on, I started working on many different kinds of online businesses. Most of them, of course, failed miserably. But some of them became minor successes, like a really big entertainment website in Eastern Europe that attracted over 3 million users every single month, or a recipes website that became quite big as well and later got acquired by another company, and a few other ventures. During those years, I was never really interested in traveling. I remember I went to the Silicon Valley and San Francisco when I was 17, then I would frequently visit London or Cambridge, but I would go to all of those trips only because I wanted to meet some people or raise money for my companies or go to some events or conferences or stuff like that. Then, right after I graduated high school, I was invited to attend this really cool event co-organized by the Malaysian government, where they invited 500 young entrepreneurs from all around the world to come to Malaysia and work with one another to basically try to make the world a better place by working on issues like women's rights, climate change, and a few others. And that trip, it literally blew my mind. I finally realized how big the world was and how little I knew about the different cultures, the different countries, religions, ways of life, and so many other things. And then when I came back to Europe, I simply couldn't stop thinking about how awesome it would be to travel the world while running my online businesses at the same time. And at that point, I was running the social media marketing agency that was called Chili Pepper Marketing. That business was making more than enough money for me to travel pretty much anywhere I wanted to. And also, I didn't need to meet my employees face to face. And I didn't need to meet my customers face to face. So after some time, I figured that I could easily do this absolutely anywhere else I went, as long as I had my computer and a Wi-Fi connection.
So good.
So the very same day I booked my flight tickets from Lithuania to Bangkok, and a few weeks later I left for my very first big trip in Asia. I was exploring Thailand, Vietnam, Malaysia, Indonesia, and the Philippines for 3 months, and those 3 months were probably the best months in my entire life because I got to learn so much, I got to grow so much, I saw so many cool places and experienced so many interesting things. After that trip I simply never stopped traveling, and that was about 4 years ago. These days I still travel around 12 months a year. Also, I focus most of my working time on this online coupons company called Chameleon John that we established with 2 partners a few years back. And throughout this time we managed to grow to a pretty big 7-digit business where every year we organize these getaways for all of our team. So we rent a villa somewhere in Asia, then we fly all of our employees there for 1 month, and all of us live together, work together, and have a lot of fun.
1, 2, 3.
That must have hurt.
Now that you know my story, it's time for part 2. How to become a nomad. There are literally thousands of people all around the world living the digital nomad lifestyle. Some of us travel very actively like I do. Others simply spend most of their time in some location that they really like. But the thing that bonds us is the fact that we are completely location dependent, meaning we can go absolutely anywhere, anytime, for as long as we wish.
How can this be real life? I have no idea.
Another thing I want to say is that it's absolutely never been easier to become location dependent because we have the internet and we have so many opportunities to make money remotely while traveling the world. So when it comes to becoming a digital nomad, it's basically all about making money online without having to meet people face to face. So there are some professions that inherently cannot be location dependent, stuff like being a doctor or an architect. But there are so many professions that can easily be location dependent, stuff like an accountant, or a web developer, or a designer, or a translator, or an online tutor, or so many other things.
Yeah, boy.
Right now I want to talk a bit more about the social media marketing agency that I was running at the age of 19 when I started traveling the world, because I feel like it's a very, very simple and very good example of how these sort of businesses operate. In those days, there were many small to medium-sized businesses who had their own Facebook fan page, but they didn't really have the knowledge or the time to actually manage them. So what we did is we approached hundreds of different companies and we offered them to create a unique marketing strategy for them if they hired us. We would start managing their Facebook fan pages by uploading daily content and engaging with their fans. And also we could manage their Facebook ad campaigns if that's what they wanted us to do. Now, the structure that I had inside the company was this. Every customer was working with one project manager and one content manager. Basically, they were getting paid a monthly fee for every customer that they were working with. So let's say we had one customer who was paying $300 a month, right? So I could give $100 to the project manager and then $100 to the content manager for that specific client, and then $100 would be pure profit for the company. In this scenario, even if we had only one customer, we were already profitable, whereas that would never have been possible if we had to hire people full-time by paying them monthly salaries, right? We would have to get at least, let's say, 10 customers to turn some sort of a profit.
That is what you call a bad viewpoint. And this is what you call a good viewpoint.
Absolutely everyone was happy because the clients didn't care about the arrangements we had inside the company. They simply wanted good service. All of my employees were extremely happy with that as well because they could choose the amount of clients they wanted to work with. And obviously for me it was cool because the company was profitable from day one, and every single new client that we acquired made the company even more profitable. Now, when it comes to making money remotely, there are literally hundreds of different ways to do it. But I want to talk a bit more about the ones that seem to be the most popular and obviously the easiest to start.
Welcome to the incredibly unsophisticated list of ways to make money remotely while traveling the world. Number 1, steal that agency, bro.
So first off, you could obviously start some sort of an agency in a very similar fashion that I just described. There are many different kinds of services that you could be providing in exactly the same way. Stuff like translating texts, or designing websites, or even editing videos or photos.
Number 2, produce epic online courses.
If you have some expertise in some sort of a niche that many people are interested in, you could create online courses on that and publish it on a platform like Udemy. The good thing about publishing online courses is that You essentially need to do it once and people can find it and purchase it for many years to come. It basically provides you with some sort of a passive income. Of course, in some cases it might be really tiny. However, in others, people make thousands of dollars every single month.
Number 3, tutor them kids.
You could also become an online tutor and teach languages to students all around the world on a platform like italki. Or if you want to tutor something else, stuff like maths or biology or I don't know, anything else, you could use a platform like Preply.
Number 4, freelance, my boy.
You could also, of course, become a freelancer. It's kind of similar to having an agency that I described before. It's just that by being a freelancer, you don't necessarily hire other people to do that service. You do it yourself. Most freelancers that I know, they find their customers on either Upwork, which is the biggest freelancing platform in the world, or Fiverr, where most of the services are a lot cheaper, but once again, you can do a lot more of them, and it still might make sense.
Number 5, dropship.
Another way to make money that's become quite popular in the past few years is dropship. Dropshipping is basically creating your online store, and as opposed to selling your own products that you manufacture, you're basically selling products directly from suppliers' warehouses who ship those products directly to your customer every time you make a sale. So most people would create an online store on this platform called Shopify because it's very cheap and easy to do, and then they would install this application that is called Oberlo. So that application would basically connect your store to thousands of different suppliers who would once again ship their products directly to your customers every time you made that sale.
Number 6, become a librarian. What?
Another way that's worked out for some people is publishing ebooks on Amazon. So if you have some expertise in pretty much anything you can think of, you could try to write some ebooks on Amazon and publish it there and try to sell it for like $2 or $3 or $4 or $5. If it works out, you could eventually hire some other writers to help you do it, and maybe even build a business on top of that by having tens or hundreds of books that are being sold every single month for years to come. Of course, I will link to all of the companies that I mentioned in the description box below.
Wait a minute, Jacob, I smell a rat in here. How much do those companies pay to mention them all? Are you a sellout?
And just a disclaimer, it wasn't sponsored by any of them. I just wanted to give you a better idea of how you could do it, or you can do something entirely different. Once again, it doesn't really matter what you do, as long as you don't need to meet people face to face and you can do all of your tasks by having just a computer and a Wi-Fi connection, you will be fine.
Yay! Holy shit!
In order to give you even more information, we need to go to part 3, resources. Ever since I decided to make this video, which was many months ago, I started searching for online resources that I could link you to, but even though I found many different websites talking about the topic and obviously hundreds of articles being written, I felt like most of them were actually discussing this sort of lifestyle and its upsides and downsides, but I didn't feel like many of them were actually focused on helping people become digital nomads and obviously find ways to make money remotely so that they could live the same sort of lifestyle.
Yeah, boy!
And after a lot more research and thinking everything through, I decided to write this tiny little ebook that's called 29 Ways to Quit the 9-to-5 and Become a Digital Nomad. Now, I'm really sorry if the name sounds cheesy.
It's a bit cheesy.
But that's exactly what the book is about. Basically, I just listed 29 different ways of how you can make money remotely, and obviously I've described them in a bit more detail, and plus I added quite a few different links to other resources or online courses that will help you learn even more. You can download this book completely for free at benomad.co/quit-9-5. I will link in the description box below.
Well done, mate!
My personal mission in life is to inspire as many people as I can to travel the world, because I think in that way the world will be a much more beautiful place. And obviously if someone can make money remotely, then they can travel indefinitely. So I really hope these resources, especially the book that I wrote specifically for this video, will help you on your way to becoming a digital nomad. And if it does, please let me know. It will absolutely make my day. Thank you very much for watching, and always remember, life's short, why waste a second?